Right, I'll declare the meeting open. Welcome you to the, would you believe it, our Easter meeting. Calling it Good Thursday, but what do you say? That another name? Anyway, welcome. Call for apologies.
Wasn't Leamington, was it?
Catherine and Marilyn.
Yes, and Leah
Yeah.
and Alex.
Is Mash sick or is she?
No.
She's had a medical appointment. Also, I'll be an apology for the April meetings as well.
Absolutely. She got an appointment, a very late appointment. She couldn't not take it in Inbril, I think. Would somebody like to move that we accept those apologies? Councillor Mulligan, Councillor Colton, seconded the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Now I'd ask for somebody to move the recommendation for confirmation of the minutes of the previous meeting on the 22nd of February. Councillor Smith, Councillor Galvin, second that. Put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Now, it was with much pleasure that I introduce our speaker this morning, and I'm really looking forward to hearing about this. It's an exciting project. Councillors and staff, Marie McKenzie, CEO of Homes North Community Housing Company Limited. Over to you, Marie.
Thank you.
And welcome. It's lovely to see you.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate you giving me time in your meeting. I know that you've always got a lot that you have to go through at these meetings, so I understand it's valuable time. So I will just go through a short presentation just to give you some background about community housing and who Homes North is, and then I'd like to spend it answering your questions and so that you feel really comfortable about who we are and the project that we've been exploring. So thank you. I'd just like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands where Homes North works and extend respects to elders past, present and emerging, for they hold the tradition and culture while encouraging the hopes of future generations. Now, I'd like to read that out because our Aboriginal staff made that acknowledgement for us, so in respect of the work that they do for us, I'd like to read that out. So we're just doing an arrow. Yeah, thank you. So Homes North, so we're a community housing provider. There's a lot of community housing providers across Australia, and they are slightly different. We're a regional provider, so we focus on this region. I'll show you the map shortly. But we more than building homes and providing homes. So the core of what we do is secure housing that takes into account the physical, social and economic environment. So we take a lot into account when we're providing housing to people. And we actually work with the people in homes across a promotion to prevention continuum that builds on strengths and reduces vulnerabilities. And we also take a long-term intergenerational outlook to disadvantage, exclusion and isolation. So we have a 20-year contract across the New England Northwest, and that's the area that we cover. Now, like us, a lot of not-for-profits and charities, not a lot, there should be more actually. We started in this region, and the board has strategically decided that we want to deliver good services to regional areas and not just expand for the sake of expanding and do more for our region rather than just expand outside the region. And it's big. Yeah, it's as you know, the tyranny of travel, trying to deliver services in regional areas. I think a lot of large organisations that try to do business and provide services in some of the regional areas don't understand how costly it is and how hard it is to deliver those services. So we've decided we want to be specialists in that. And like a lot of, we have best employment, you've got JobLink Plus, they started in this region, they've grown in the region. That's what we've decided to do.
I just missed your time frame. How many years did you say you?
20 years our contract
20.
is. Yes, it's
Okay.
very unusual. So in 2019, there was a transfer of the management of public housing in the New England Northwest across to Homes North. Now, we had to tender for that. It was a very competitive tender, you know, with Australia-wide providers tendering for it. So we're very pleased that we were a local provider was able to win that contract. So with that 20 years, we can, with our strategic planning, unlike a lot of organisations with get their funding 12 months, 2 years, 3 years, lucky if they get 5, we've got the 20 years. So we want to use that advantage and do long-term planning. So our strategic plan has short-term, medium and long-term goals all the time in it, so that we can, with the long-term goals, we can be planting the seeds now. So that contract didn't fully hand over to us till 2021. And as you can imagine, there was a lot of legacy issues. We've had to deal with a lot of older assets, but our aim is to build new assets and new housing for the area. And in that contract, there's a lot of services. So we deliver community and social housing, which is, you know, the properties and allocating people into those properties who are eligible. We also provide temporary accommodation for people who are homeless in motels. So you may not know, but on any night in the New England Northwest, we are supporting around 160 households to stay in a motel who are homeless, and that's not including people in refuges. We also provide subsidies in the private market, so we help particularly young people who really have struggled to get access into the private market. We, through a government grant, provide a subsidy so they can afford their rent while they're getting trained and getting into employment and getting an income where they can afford the rent. We also provide direct support to clients under some programs ourselves. And we have an asset management team that does all our repairs and maintenance. But we have contractors that we outsource the actual work to, but they manage, we've got 2,700 properties we have to maintain, so that's a big planned maintenance schedule. And we also are responsible for service integration to make sure there's some integration around with government around social housing service delivery. And we do community engagement with our tenants as well. We've got special officers that go out and do community development work and provide, courses, healthy living, cooking, that sort of opportunities for tenants. So that's a range of services. I won't go into this very much, but it's over 5,000 people in the homes across the New England Northwest. We have a high percentage of Aboriginal tenants, about 44%, and a high percent with a disability as well, about 36%. So it's a very complex, business. So I thought I'd talk just a little bit about what is social and affordable housing. So social housing is typically where someone pays 25% of their income in rent. So it's around people's capacity to pay, and it ensures they don't go into rent stress. So rent stress is when a household's paying more than 30% of their income to rent, and it can be mortgage stress as well. So more than 30% of their house repayments, their loan repayments, are going into their mortgage repayments, then that's called housing stress as well. So that's the technical definition of housing stress. So by guaranteeing that the rent's 25% of people's income, it's around capacity to pay. Unfortunately, it's a really difficult financial model because young people, for example, are on a new start. We can't maintain a property for the level of income that we get, so we have to cross-subsidise that with other households. This affordable housing product, it's a little bit more flexible, but in general, it's the market rent you would get if you had it leased on the market, less 20%. So it's just a sub-market rent that's charged. And in most cases, these types of products are managed by a government state agency. So a lot of you would be familiar with the Housing Commission, which was called, that built a lot of those properties, especially, from the 50s to the 90s. Or a community housing provider like ourselves, because there's lots of regulation. So we're regulated. We have a national regulator, and we have to comply to the standards that are set for us every year. They're very quite strict, and they are, and there's an act. There's the national law, it's called, for that coordinates all the jurisdictions to ensure that we're delivering whole, services to the tenants. We're maintaining our assets. We're financially viable. All of that's tested every year. We're just going through ours at the moment.
So, Marisa, whenever somebody's on the dole, for argument's sake, how does that work then if you're supposed to take 20? So that's still the 25% rule still applies? Yeah.
It's very tough going.
Yeah, right.
And that's because we're, and young people getting access to housing is so important, because, we've seen some of the young people that we help that have come from extremely traumatised backgrounds. Everything in the world is going against them. And they're adaptable, young people. And if you give them an opportunity, you provide them a house, you give them training and give them hope, they can have a different life trajectory. Now, that's not guaranteed, of course. And sometimes it's haywire, and sometimes it's a rocky road and it goes down, it goes up. But if they don't have the shelter, then you've got no chance.
Mm-hmm. So the affordable housing that you'll be building, is it on the same sort of thing as the old scheme where you can actually purchase that home over time?
No, but saying that, this is your project. I think it's a shared project. At the end of the day, yes, we will own that asset. But our partnership is with yourselves, and it's about what you want out of that project. Now, if you want it to lead to a affordable purchase, there's nothing stopping part of this going to an affordable purchase. Now, Saul and I have been talking with it's now Homes New South Wales. It's not DCG Housing anymore, got a new name. So that's sort of the old Housing Commission. And sourcing some funding. They're very keen for this project to be seen as a pilot project of how in smaller centres you can do housing projects.
So for the house,
If you wanted, it's a council, you decide, if you decide you want a pathway to home ownership, there are, there's ways that you can do that as well.
but what's more than likely to happen is that the housing that you build, the new houses, will be rented for their entire existence.
Yes. But
Unless
you want to approach us and say, look,
unless you give it to them and they get on their feet, like in this, that would be ideal. If a young person was to given this opportunity, develop themselves and get on their feet and make things bigger and better, and then move out to their own and give the same opportunity to someone else.
That's right.
Yep.
That's the way I would like to see it done. Otherwise, some of these young people, and I'm not saying all of them, but some of these young people will take an advantage of it and not help themselves and just stay there.
There's different ways that you can look at housing and a housing market. So you could look at it from the point of view, and it may not be applicable for this project because of the immediate community, but you can say we need more housing options for people, just simply more housing options.
Yeah.
At this point in time,
Certainly do. No.
there's not much.
Yeah, there's
And
nothing.
that's why people want to stay in it, because there's not a lot of options out there. So we've got to do this and create other options as well.
Yeah.
Like it's not, there's a lot of things need to happen in housing in Australia.
I think the mentality's changed to a fair degree nowadays, where people are happy to rent their entire existence, whereas the old dream was to own your home.
That's right. But then you look at the reasons for that, because when we purchased our homes, it was 3 times our annual salary.
Yeah.
We're now looking up to, I think it's even got to times now. So that you can understand that decision making from people. So I think we have to all take some responsibility around that, about creating other opportunities and advocating for a different housing. Really, we need a different housing system than we have at the moment. It's very much focused on wealth creation and not focused on people having their own home to live in, and their own home even, well, it's definitely not focused on that at the moment. It favours investors.
The project, as it developed, was envisioned to sort of be a stepping stone from people who were financially struggling to get on their feet and then transition into the commercial market. And and that was the idea that we've been working with Joe and with Human from DCJ, now Homes New South Wales, and I think that's still sort of the framework that we're operating under.
And when I meant like get on their feet, I didn't necessarily mean buy a house. I meant get on their feet, get their life together, and maybe get out and rent another house, and then someone have the opportunity that they had. Like with this affordable housing, if we could do projects with it as well to put these people, with them, see counsellors, see whatever, to help them in their crisis and get them to do courses. Like I know there's lots of courses in the whole of the Shire to do, and they are then able to do those courses and get them on. Do you know what I'm trying to say? And then this opportunity for this housing, because there's always going to be the homeless people and the people that are underprivileged that can't afford it, it's then once these people have got on their feet and got their lives together, then the next people can come in and have the same opportunity this person has.
It wasn't really pitched at sort of more like those extreme crises. It was more for people like apprentices who were on like lower wages, so would struggle to afford there. And so whilst they did their apprenticeship, they might live in something like this and then sort of go into the commercial market when they sort of were hitting their full wage and things like that.
Which is the same sort of thing as I'm saying. Like it's giving them the opportunity, whether they be low wages or no jobs or whatever, but it's giving them the opportunity and then someone else comes in.
Yeah, so we'd see sort of a 3 to 5 year, I think, was the sort of idea that someone to stabilise, increase their sort of economic base and then go into the open market.
You've got more to say, Marie. You keep going and then we'll do some questions if you like. We'll let you finish.
No, I think that's about it. I think I'd like to level it now about what comfort you need about understanding what community housing is, what are community housing providers, because I think that's important that you understand that I'm very conscious when I talk to councils that you're custodian of community assets and that's land, and you want to make sure that it's going to something that's going to benefit the whole community. So I want you to be, not all councils are really understand how community housing works or even how social housing works. But if you're comfortable with that and you don't want to explore that anymore, I'm happy with that. But I'd like to have all your questions answered at this point in time.
I think it's quite obvious that it's much needed. We certainly need this. What's the chances of this becoming a reality?
It's rare that you will get someone in the public service that's quite as keen about a project as Hugh Mayor is on this one.
Yeah.
And they're not going to say that's
good enough.
You've got that on your side. And that's why I'm going with it, because these opportunities don't come very often. And we just put recently, you would have heard about this the Housing Australia Future Fund. Potentially, it's a federal government fund. Now, we talked to Mayor about potentially, was it a project for that fund? And because I didn't think it was, and he agreed it wasn't. So and he's going to find, that tells me he's finding some money somewhere else. And they're much better at understanding what communities need and being prepared to be adaptable and flexible. Whereas when you go to a big federal fund, you're just in the sausage making business. And
How are you funded? How's your organisation funded?
so we are self-funded when it comes to the properties.
Yeah, okay.
So we're like a business. Think of us more about a
Commercial
business.
operation, yeah.
Commercial operation, except for we've got some bits of it, the bits of us that aren't, and that's when we've got about 250 properties we rent in the private market across the region, and that's just so we've got a portion of that portfolio of properties that's adaptable. We can move it around. We can say, all right, we've got a crisis in Inverell at the moment. We need a property there. Let's drop one in Tamworth, or we can do that. Or someone quickly needs a property that's sometimes even a little remote and for certain reasons. So we can have that small portion of the 2,700 that's very flexible. That gets grant funding. Mm-hmm. So the gap of what we pay a landlord and what the tenant pays us is as a grant. And we have applied for other funding over the time to help support some of our highest need clients, because we can't sustain financially a tenancy that isn't supported well. It comes at a cost to us.
Bearing in mind this meeting's recorded, I was wondering if I gave you an Easter egg, would it enhance our chances of...
I'll give away mine too.
You won't have to declare.
I think you've got all the eggs in the basket already.
Do we?
Yes. Having, done a lot of contract negotiations with the department and different branches within the department. I haven't worked for them for 12 years as well. This is probably the best project. When you've got a public servant really pushing along and trying to make it work, you're onto a pretty good outcome. The only thing would be if something, hits the department sideways about their funding through Treasury. Now, if that happens, there's nothing you can do.
Another simple question, there's always... Lately, there's been a big problem getting builders. Have you got access to builders?
We do, but it's not... The most critical period was about a year ago.
Yes.
We're finding it now that it's easing off. And, we did...
People.
Hey?
For some people, maybe.
Oh, yes. And Warri Elder is going to be tough. And we would like to look at a modular or a semi-modular development there. But we would go to tender and see what options come up.
I was wondering how you did that. You don't come along with your own builder and...
No. We are like... when I go back to regulation, but we can't do that. We have to be arm's length, and we have to have it's a lot of money. We have to have a procurement policy, similar to what councils do, very transparent, audited, all that sort of thing.
Well, is it something that could happen reasonably soon?
If we find the money. Hugh Air finds the money for us. That it could, yes.
And there's also looking for partners in the project through police housing and teachers housing to fund one of the units to be run by them.
Good idea.
Or two, yeah. So there's just like a good mix of residents there.
Just two things, like back to the plans and the buildings. I know we've got in the Shire at the moment, we've got quite a few from Uniplan that look really good. My only thing is you want it to look good, like not little humpy sort of everywhere that they say, oh, well, that's where the underprivileged live or something like that. You want it to look presentable and nice, both for the community and for them. And the other thing is, and I suppose, and I've learnt, I've got a rental myself that we've got another shop in Narrabri, and we put butchers in there, and they completely wrecked it. Which I know you've got no say on it, but I do think something has to be, because we were giving somebody, like you're doing, we were giving somebody that couldn't afford to pay for things properly an opportunity, which is what the
That's right.
plan is here. But they've also got to toe the line and look after it
Absolutely.
because they become, and I don't know how you do that, because it then becomes an expense, and it's all right to say they were never taught and it was all right to say this, but it doesn't fit because something's then wrecked.
So, that's probably a main part of our work, is doing that. So we actually, the other day I had a staff member go past my office with a whole stack of paperwork, and I'm thinking, where are you going? She was going off the tribunal, which is where we hear the cases around tenancy law. And I said, we're going to have to start getting a trolley, because we do, and I don't mean to say that we are very punitive at all, but we take the law seriously. That's one of our key roles as a community housing provider. We have to ensure compliance with the Residential Tenancy Act.
Do you have the power to evict them?
We don't, but we have an independent member that we will never make that decision. We can't make that decision ourselves. In fact, nobody can in New South Wales. They're only threats. If someone is evicting someone verbally, that is only a threat. It's nothing. It means
They
nothing.
become squatters.
They
They become squatters.
That's right. So we go. We have a very good relationship with our tribunal member. We always go to the tribunal. We've got staff trained in all of the breaches, all the notices we have to do. It's in no one's benefit if a tenancy is not managed well. Nobody's benefit. And we have rights as the landlord for that property not to be damaged, and the neighbours have a right to live in peace and quiet. Yeah. So those are the rights that's our business, is to uphold and maintain. Now, it's easy to say, very complex to do, because at the same time, we're in the business of keeping people in houses. So that's the complexity of the work we do, and that's why real estates don't do the work that we do, because it's complex and it's costly, and your margins are extremely thin.
Just to make a comment on these units. I want to give you a very positive feeling that we're very much in need of this and we'd love to see it. But my comment would be they look like single-person units, are they? Or
they're all 2 bedrooms. And we've got there's a couple of 1 bedrooms.
There's 4 singles.
There was a couple of 1 bedrooms. There was a couple of
1, 2,
versions.
3 and 4 look pretty small. And the comment I wanted to make was that in Warialna there is teacher housing that was built, 14 years ago, maybe more, and it wasn't occupied because the units were too small. There was a couple of houses at each end which were, and then there was these units, and the teachers, well, they might go in when they first came, but they couldn't get out quick enough. And I'm not sure if there's anyone in them now even. I think there might be periodically, but I think we have to watch that you don't go too tiny.
There is particularly when we're targeting for people not to stay there long term, I think that's okay to look at the smaller complexes, smaller unit sizes, townhouses, because it's not somewhere, if someone wants to have a family and, that's their next step.
Yeah, I see, yeah.
Not that you would have a single parent there by any means, or someone with a young child, but we're not looking at this as their permanent housing solution.
No, of course. Yeah.
Have you got an estimated cost of what this is going to cost to build? In what time frame?
We've done some estimate on the cost, but
Just roughly.
So it'll be up at around 400,000 for each unit. So it depends which one you go for. But I think we're going for the 8. Was the so it's well over 3 million.
Yeah.
And what contribution are you looking at from council to do this, or are you funding 70% of it, we're funding 30%, or is that?
We're going for 100% funding from
Right.
So with the land contribution from council, we're asking 100% contribution from New South Wales.
That's good.
Now we may negotiate, and we may have to get a loan for a portion of it, so it might in the end go 70-30, and we'll borrow for the 30.
Although I think
But we'll start with 100. Because it is a pilot program, there's a lot of risk associated with it. They haven't done these sort of projects in smaller regional centres, so they want to test the waters. So there should be an appropriate risk allocation to the parties in that.
And you're talking,
You maintain these units and you do all the ins and outs, do you?
Yes.
So council doesn't do anything really.
No, with the funding, we'll have title to the properties. So we'll,
So we'll have to transfer the land to you, I guess.
yes,
Yes.
that's right.
And I really like the look of,
Yeah.
it looks inviting.
So, and we want them to look, I mean, the developments that we have done, and I didn't bring photos of those, I should have. The first ones that we did in Armidale, we actually wanted them to look like no one would ever pick they were social housing.
Yeah,
that
that's
was that was our aim. You know, a lot of us would like to do really quite nice, you know, designs and whatnot, but
This is what we've got in front of us.
yeah, similar to that's what we built, because and to this day, the ones we built, people don't know. they're
Yes,
social
and that's
housing.
the idea of it.
That's right.
And that's what I said earlier. You want it to look, you don't want it to look, well,
No, that's right. And, you know, and I think if you've got a good mix, as Saul was talking about, you might have young apprentices there. You might have a nurse who just lives there for 6 months while they're trying to find, you know, accommodation if they're moving to Whyalla. You want it to feel like the community feels like.
how long will it take you to build this project? Roughly 18 months, 2 years?
I'd say 18 months.
18 months,
Yeah.
Well,
And it depends because we've got a builder we're working on. I'm sort of hesitating on that because we've got a builder we're working at the moment, which is a semi prefabricated, as in
our companies don't want
they're called U panels, but they're very small panels that are just slotted together. They're not like the big panels that you'll see,
from AGL.
sort of the hardware stores and that. And so they're fabricated and they can put the dwelling up in an 8-week period. Now we're trialling that at the moment in Moree. So if that's successful and it looks as attractive as what
It's been sorted out, but
That'd be
Plans.
fire resistant. Yeah.
fire resistance, why we've gone for those. Absolutely, that's spot on. So this is our low maintenance, forever type of housing with minimal maintenance. Because what we're after as the asset managers is minimal maintenance over time, and that's why we've gone for this construction, plus the time and plus we don't, and the challenges with getting some, when we got the tender for that job there in Moree, getting a builder was almost impossible. So that's why we went for this firm, and they're an Aboriginal corporation as well.
Yeah.
Really great work.
Obviously you've been in the business a fair while, 20 years. Some of the original first ones you've done, do they still look
Yep.
okay and
Yes.
respectable on that one?
Yes. Some of them, it was interesting, we have valuations done on some, these are ones that were turnkey projects. We had part to do with the design with the builder, but it was a different kind of contract. And we had valuations done, so they are just peppered through a greenfield estate, new estate. And the valuer said our properties were in better condition and better maintained than the surrounding properties. And that was, for me, it was like, because you worry about it. You worry about the assets,
Yeah.
You invest in them. And as you were talking about tenants and the damage that they can do to properties, and maintaining our valuation so that we can borrow and build more housing, that's all really important. But that's not saying we don't have some horrific problems with some of our assets. So, I don't want you to get the impression that we don't have some that cost us a lot of money, but we don't want to build any more assets that are going to cost us money, because we are maintaining those properties for the government that were built in 1950, asbestos fibro, roof, cladding, internal cladding, external cladding. sometimes, you know, they are really costly to maintain. And so our aim is not, you know, we feel that every day. So there's no way we're going to build an asset that's not going to keep our costs down over time and look attractive. And the community values, the community appreciates, not an eyesore.
A setup like this, it's sort of, they have a body corporate, or
No,
you're the body corporate?
yep, that's right.
You vet who goes in, right, like, or do you put it in the hands of an agent?
There'll be a way, no, we do all of that,
Do all
so,
that.
yep.
And it'd be like Warrialla people, or be like Shire, Gwydir Shire people would be the sort of main aim. Are we going to see people coming from out of?
When I've
Right.
been talking to Saul, part of it is people come into work
Yeah.
in Warriata. So if someone's coming and got a job in,
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's
Um,
fine. Yeah.
that's one of the key purposes of the
yeah,
housing,
yeah.
is to make it housing available to them. I mean, there's nothing to rent in Warriata.
No.
Well, if you've got a business and you want to employ people, good luck getting a property that you can
Yeah.
rent. So that's one of the main aims of the project, is to support the local economy,
Yeah. No,
as well as you know, young people in the town to stay in the town. If they want to get an apprentice with the local mechanic, whatever it is, then you're keeping an apprentice in that town that can be your future mechanic.
You don't do anything like, we're looking at a project, now it's fairly difficult, but housing, I can't think what you call it. Transitional housing up now, aged care. Where, you know how that system works, where they actually buy the home and then you're guaranteed to buy it back when they no longer require it. You refurbish it, do it again. You don't do anything like that, I don't suppose.
No, steer clear of that. Now, saying
I like
that,
hearing those words.
I think it's been quite profitable. When there was a lot of incentives to build aged care, that would have been about 20 years ago, a lot of investors got into aged care, and you know, if they've got their returns after their 15 years and they've got out. So I think that window has
This is more
gone.
like
I
an
think it's
over 55 village is what we're talking about.
Yeah.
the financial model of that's pretty good. It is. Yeah, I mean, I kind of wish if we had that, we wouldn't have half the problems we have. But anyway, that's not.
I'm giving you an opportunity to get into it.
Well, it's the compliance around aged care.
It's not aged.
Now it's
This is not aged.
no, it's transition. It's
Yeah.
the transition. That's right. It's more like the retirement village.
Yeah, they want to come off the farm. And that's-
Yeah.
They don't want to have to mow the lawn, they want somebody to do that.
Cool. In which location is that? Is that
It's at Nauru, which is in Warrialla.
Warrialla?
But I was going to say that if this works well, there's no reason why we couldn't have a genuine partnership for other opportunities in the
that's
Shire
right.
anyway. And that's certainly one of them, as is Bingra is in need of the same sort of accommodation as Warrialla.
Well, it's interesting you mentioned that, because we've got our strategic planning weekend, the weekend after Easter, and I noticed that retirement villages were actually on the
Oh, good.
on a lot of the.
Because it's something that can be staged. You don't have to go and build the whole village.
Yeah.
You build one or two and get them occupied, then go that way. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is the beginning of a new paradigm for housing in Australia. The old paradigm of everyone having a McMansion and a mortgage that kills them is obviously not working. There needs to be more community housing,
Yes.
and I don't see that it needs to be separated into transitional old age housing or young people's housing. There just need to be more houses.
That's a
They don't have to be bloody McMansions.
no, they don't, and we're finding more and more people don't want them. In fact, we've got people who are complaining about having to
Well,
maintain
you look at
a big house and lawns in particular. People have got children, they're busy, so that, I mean, you know, when I think when you're very financially stable and well off, and you can afford someone to help you maintain your lawn or whatever, that's a different story. But that's not where the majority of people are at the moment, we find.
And we're talking about 25 to 30% of the Australian population. We're not talking about a couple of
No.
stray people that are under stress for housing.
Yeah.
It's a big population.
It's a lot of, that's
And
right.
it's a big population in the country as well.
Isn't it 1 in 5 people are spending more than they're earning, actually?
It's nearly an entire generation or two, is what you're talking about.
The other thing you got too is that the elderly people are downsizing.
Yes.
They're helping their children out, and they've got a big enough block to build a duplex at the back or a granny patch, so the elder people stay and look after the kids, so they don't have to pay
Yeah.
childcare and that. And the other two still go to work. That's I've got a daughter that lives in Sydney, and the streets, the whole street, and those houses in those streets probably worth between 1.2, 1.5, and they're knocking them down and rebuilding. Yeah.
Yes. That's right.
You know.
In school.
But just going back, so just to understand how the whole thing works. So the council provides the land's transferred to
Jobs
the
there for people.
Homes
Homes
North.
North, yeah.
Then the Homes North builds the units, they maintain them. Does the council get rates on that land or not, or is that?
Yes, you can give us a rate,
Private school.
I can't remember what it's called now, but
Concession.
under the law, under the
Like a
Local
concession
Council
or
Act.
a
it's a-
rebate, yeah.
Yeah, on the rates, as
A
further
discount.
support for the program. And that often, and we're eligible, community housing providers are eligible for that concession.
And what would happen if, say, in 50 years' time, they sold, Housing North sold all that again? What would happen then?
So, under our constitution, our assets, say if we fold it, let's say if we fold it, I'll do that one first. Our assets have to go to a like organisation. They would have to go to a charity, and they would have to go to a community housing provider who would continue the same service. So we can't be registered, and we wouldn't get funding from the government unless we've got that in our constitution. They're very, very, and there's a review of the wording of our constitution done every couple of years. We have to. There's always a hoo-ha every couple of years because some new providers might not have had the right A or the in the right place. So that's very strictly controlled. Now, for selling of an asset, it will depend on what you decide should be on as a caveat on the title.
It's up to the council to put a caveat on the top.
What, from day one, you mean?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
That's a good point. We should remember that.
now you could put, and the caveats are generally put on our titles when we get a grant from the government. So that would be, we can deal in that asset, but we need permission from the government to deal. Because you don't want to not deal, because then we're stuck with assets that are aging,
Oh,
or
yeah.
you know, you might want to use them. We might want to use them for something else, and you agree, but it would require us to come back to council and say this is the change that we want.
But if we end up partnering and going into transitional housing, they will be sold every time.
Yes.
Yeah. Now, you said that this project depends on funding.
Yep.
Are you talking government funding or?
Yes, it's government funding from Homes New South Wales.
Yeah.
So they have what they call Community Housing Innovation Fund, and it is for innovation projects. So this is innovation because it's supporting an area that they won't normally go. You know, a lot of the money goes to metro areas. A lot of focus has been on, you know, the Wollongong, Sydney,
Yes.
Newcastle strip.
We're well aware of that, yeah.
So this is called, they've got a little fund where they can trial all these sort of projects.
And that'll be 100% funded.
I'll be asking for the 100%
Yeah,
funding,
good.
but if it's not, we'll go and borrow. We'll have to do the finances it on it all and make sure we can get borrowing for say 30% that we'll repay. But we'll have to. The lender will have to be, you know.
You just recover
Went
that
to the party.
from rent.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So in that case, we'd have to be more cautious about the setting of the rents, and we want to promote that it's 100% affordable. Now it's a little complicated because even and with affordable housing, we've got the New South Wales Affordable Housing Guidelines. They're the ministerial guidelines. So we will follow those. So we don't make up rules. We'll follow those. But if for each project you can have specific policies that might support the initiative for Warrialda. Like, you might really want us to decide we want to target apprentices and only apprentices.
Yeah.
You can write that in the policy, but it's got to be published, it's got to be open, it's got to be transparent. So, we've got to avoid, we're very, very mindful that housing's a scarce resource now, affordable housing is scarce, and that people get it. It's fair, it's transparent, it's equitable.
What's the rent subsidy, do you know? You would know.
Well, if it'll be, the problem with Warrialda is the market rents aren't that high.
Is the subsidy, what, a percentage of what?
20%
It's only 20%, is it?
below the market rent,
Right.
yes. Now, saying that, if we had within the guidelines for affordable housing in New South Wales, we can, it's very confusing, but we can charge a social housing rent. We can convert a tenancy to 25% of their income. So if we had a young, I'm just trying to think, say if you had a young apprentice and then had an accident and went on to disability pension for a period of time because they had a machine accident or whatever, they wouldn't have the income to pay the market rent, even 80% of the market rent. We can put them down to 25%. So when we do the modelling of the rent, we will do some period of time where we'll only be receiving 25% of someone's income on a income support. So especially if we have to go to a bank and get 30% of the bill cost,
Yeah, sure.
borrowed money.
So the tenant then gets 20% of that back with the low income rent assistance.
If they're working, so if the market rent in Warrialda is $350, for example, then they would only be paying about $310. So they get a discount, and they get stable accommodation. It's good quality accommodation. It'll be solar. It'll be cheaper to live in, so we don't build anything now without solar. They'll be able to have air conditioning, and won't cost them a fortune. So all those health benefits are there as well. So it's not only the 20% discount they get, it's actually the quality and how cheap it is to live in the property as well that they get. Now, with the, if we go 25% of their income, well, it's 25% of whatever income they're getting. But we would only do that if the tenant was financially constrained.
Yes.
The income changed.
So, you obviously do that through the government to establish those facts, yeah.
Now, the other thing I forgot to mention, sorry, this is very important. Under the guidelines, we can never charge anyone more than 30% of their income. So that's a protection for everybody. So if you had because some of the apprentice wages are very low, they probably wouldn't meet 80% of a market rent in Warrialda. So we would charge them lower than that.
Yeah, it'd be pretty attractive, yeah.
The social security side of it, most people that are on some form of social security, if they can't do the rent, they get assistance, don't
yes, they do.
Yeah.
Yep. So the
so you wouldn't be still charging 25% of the.
we get 100% of this.
100% of the
yes. So that all the rent assistance has to go to the community housing provider.
How do people get onto these houses?
How do they?
How do people apply?
So in Warrialda it'll be a slightly different project.
Yeah.
We will advertise.
Yeah.
We'll advertise through local businesses, through the council, through the newspaper.
Yeah.
So we'll have to do, and then we'll maintain a waiting list, and we'll create a eligibility criteria.
Yeah.
And I'd like to run that by yourselves and make sure you're comfortable with it, but because it's got to meet community's priorities. But I'd suggest they have to show a capability to sustain a tenancy. If they can't, they would have to have good supports.
I think you'd fill it in a week.
Pardon?
I think you'd fill it in a week. Maybe not quite.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I think it's actually similar to what we do now for the housing that we do provide. And we also use a small committee which includes the local GP and, help us understand people's needs if they've got medical issues and what's.
Yes. So, but with these projects, we can set it because of what you want to deliver to the community. You can prioritise apprentices. You can say it's called, and it's nationally accepted way of doing affordable housing now. You might want to prioritise frontline workers first and foremost. They will get prioritisation in that waiting list. It'll be systemised, and you'll weight different components of someone's application. Now, you can weight frontline workers if that's what you feel you need.
I would really like to see the examples that you have, because we may miss something if we start to do that. If we could see what you're actually doing now with some of your, or a lot of your rentals, it would be really handy. Yeah.
Well, in the social housing, the ones that we manage on behalf of the state, we participate in a statewide register, housing register. So it's statewide. And we manage that whole register for the government for the New England Northwest. So we will do about 1,000 applications we assess every year for this region, a lot of work. And that's got set eligibility criteria. So you have to be a resident of New South Wales. You have to have an income below a certain amount. That's also in the affordable housing guidelines. There's bands of wages to ensure that people who aren't well off are getting access to the properties. So you have to be a low income earner, and you have to be able to sustain a tenancy with or without appropriate supports. And you have to be an Australian citizen. So they're pretty basic, but then you'll get priority will be someone who's homeless, domestic and family violence, disability, and housed inappropriately. So there's, we're very practiced at having a policy. We've got to have a policy though. It's got to be written, and then the staff will assess against that.
I'd love to see the different criteria, because I think in our world here, most of the apprentices live at home with their parents. Still only young people. Yeah. That wouldn't be the case every time. But is there any other questions to Marie? I'm going to suggest that we break for morning tea and can talk to Marie privately. Have you any more to say, Marie?
No,
It's a bit low cost living, like some of the, like not only the rent, but
yes.
it's going to be solar and things like that. They still pay outgoings like water rates and things like that.
Where does the landlord pay the water rate? Oh, yes, the tenants pay the water rate, sorry. Yeah, we'll pay them to you, but they pay us. Yes, that's right.
I think probably the key takeaways here for us is that although we give the land over, then because of the caveat on the title, it will always remain in that sphere, and if it doesn't, then we're able to sort of retain that value anyway, and that we get to have a big say in who goes in there by having a policy of who the council wants to house in these things. So whether it is apprentices or people with disability or this or that, then we get to set the terms there.
That's right. I think that's really important.
Pretty good system, I think, that would be.
And it will, QMAR from Homes North,
New South Wales.
Homes New South Wales
Very confusing now.
is, they're looking for funding to hopefully cover 100% of the costs going forward other than our land contribution, and then Marie does all the administration, and so between those two organisations, they take care of everything for us pretty much from the build to putting in the tenants. We just develop the policy of who we want to go. So
I've just got this little problem with if something's too good to be true, it may not, and it seems too good.
Oh, look, I'm on an uphill fight to get the 100%.
Yeah.
I'll be honest with you.
Yeah,
But,
yeah.
I'm putting it, I've got to state it. If I don't keep saying it,
Yeah, well,
you know,
I wish you well with that. Right? Because there's a massive need for this.
yes.
Yeah.
$3 million is not a lot of money, is it? Really?
No, I don't think so.
We're only going
Have to have words with
to the day's market, you're only going to build
That's right.
You're gonna,
So,
only gonna
do
build
we
two
need
houses,
to be,
aren't you?
we need to get our local member onto this, or supporting it, or?
I think we'll see how we go at this
Okay.
point in time. I'm
Yeah.
happy with that, the progress so far, Saul.
Yeah, we'll see what, at our next meeting, like we've been having regular meetings
Yeah.
every month or so, and really now it's reaching out and trying to secure that funding, and we'll see what
So
messages.
you've got an application in for the funding now?
Not us, it's through the Department of Community Justices, who have just changed their name,
Yeah,
looking at all of their available state government funding for pilot housing projects.
Got a Shire in the mix though, that's what I'm saying. Is there an application been lodged for this?
No, and they didn't
Not
want
yet?
us. They didn't want us to lodge an application.
Oh, okay.
They want all these ducks in a row first.
But
So
look, that they have committed some money to the pot to do these designs that were in that December meeting, that document. So it's not like they're,
As long as they've heard of us, that's what I'm trying to say.
and look, and that's a small. I mean, that's small bickies for them, of course, getting it. But that's something they don't normally do. I guarantee you. That's.
So you
I
sound,
didn't even ask for it. And
you sound optimistic, Marie, and I like that.
well, it's a rarity. Like you know, we now normally I'm in for the battle, you know, and I have to battle for a long time. But this is something that they really want to have as a proof of concept.
Excellent, excellent.
Are these houses all going to be disability friendly?
Yes.
Or do you do them one-off as needed?
So we do the universal design, like the under
So
the
the toilets and
livable
things,
design
but
guidelines. Yes.
is
So-
that- sorry.
And with the Australian Construction Code, so it's the latest amendments to that are pretty firm around accessibility, and it's not so much you build them for accessibility. You build all buildings are going to be built so they are accessible. I think there's a change in the way we think about design now. Always going to have wider doorways, you know, always going to have level access at some
Ramps or not?
and if need be,
If necessary,
yes,
yeah.
yes. I mean, sea level sites are really advantageous now because you're lowering your costs for accessibility straight away. You know, as soon as you're pouring concrete, you're paying money.
Yeah.
Marie, where's the closest one that you've built to us here? Don't say Mooro, no.
You said Armadale.
Oh, there is.
Armadale.
Armadale.
Yeah, Armadale. Yeah,
And where's it? Armadale, Tamworth?
Armadale and
Is
Tamworth and
involved? No,
Gunnedah.
they're not all up here. Yeah.
Armadale, Tamworth and Gunnedah. So far, we've got
Oh,
a
no,
project on the go in Moree and potentially one in Inverell as well.
You go out as far as Walgett, don't you?
Yes, yes. That was not a strategic decision. It was someone begged us, but anyway. I shouldn't
Right,
say that, but it's
let's
hard yucca getting staff to go out.
Let's break for morning tea, Marie.
Thank you.
On behalf of us assembled, thank you very much for the presentation. Really exciting. Let's keep our fingers crossed that we get the funding.
Very privileged.
Okay, well, we'll keep going. We're up to item 5, which is a call for declaration of interests, gifts received and conflict of interest.
Mayor, I'd like to declare an interest in the P&O Warriolda in the donations. This
Is that necessary?
being the secretary of that
Probably because
organisation.
you're an office bearer.
Do I have to?
Are you an office bearer?
No.
No, you don't.
Okay.
You're just one of the hard workers.
Life member.
Very recognisable.
Do I have to do that for Rotary too, Max?
You're an office bearer, aren't
Yes,
you?
there is a donation there for
Yeah,
Rotary, yeah. Okay, I'll record that.
Any others? No? Okay, they've been recorded. Now we go into officers' reports and
Committee
committee
recommendation.
recommendations, yeah. So that we have the Public Infrastructure Committee meeting, technical services report we received. Anyway, they're all there on page 5. Somebody move that we adopt
I move, Mr
those
Mayor.
recommendations. Councillor Colton, seconded Councillor Mulligan.
This one up.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
6.2, executive services.
I'm happy to answer any
Here we go. Yeah.
questions you might have. long as they're not too hard.
Is that, with regards to the feedlot application, is that the figure they expect to construct it for? Third one there.
43.
343, yeah.
343, 502.
It's an ambitious figure, isn't it? Yeah. Is that's what it is though, isn't it?
Oh, that's their figure. We always check these figures. So
Okay.
these are the figures that they put into the application, but
Yeah, right.
often when we set the fees and charges, we use a more realistic figure.
Okay.
The telecommunications tower, that's a lot of money for,
What is it? For,
yeah,
where did I read that?
Bill and Sally's.
yeah, and it's 243,000 for a telecommunications tower, like,
Page is it?
it's on page 7.
7?
Seven.
Oh, yeah, same one, yeah.
And I was,
That's what I wondered what it was.
Oh, yeah, I'm thinking that's a lot of money to spend for a tower at your place.
Well, I didn't get the address. I didn't know they owned Brick Hill.
It's just recording an application, not a...
Is that a private communications tower though? Is that what it means?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, incredible. Don't have a problem with it. I was just.
No, I don't either, but I'm thinking
Curious, yeah.
it's a lot of money to spend
I
on.
wonder, are they providing the land,
That's what I wondered, but the
Telstra or Optus or someone to...
would that be the case, do you think?
That well could be the case that it's actually applying on behalf of a
No,
utility.
that's what it looks like, yeah.
You should be able to go back and see the North Star one. Wasn't it the last meeting? Something or the one before?
Yeah, and I think it was a private name on it. I think it might have been Dylan, was it? Yeah.
There's something else I thought I ticked. Maybe not.
Tell you what, that was a pretty good shed, that building too, that was outside the Shire.
Yeah, 1.7.
1.8 million,
How come he applied in the wrong Shire? I don't know.
where he lived.
Now. Yes. Oh, wait a minute. Was that, see, an application for feedlot at Upper Horton? Do we need to go and visit that site?
If you'd like to.
No, what the members feel?
I think you should. Somebody should go and see that.
We
Because
could do what we did with the last one.
I think it's hard to vote on something we don't know much about. Different with the house renovation, isn't it? But something major.
I think they're good in that the fact that you're clear in your own mind that,
Oh, yeah.
that something's not going to affect someone else close by.
You don't want the effluent running into the Horton River, for
No, that's
example.
right.
I don't know where it
Exactly,
is.
that's right.
Hamilton.
And probably like if they were to get together, well, they came out to this feedlot, but they haven't come out to.
I agree. Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Set a
We've
standard.
set a standard. Now let's keep it.
So can we organise that now?
Yeah, it actually hasn't been lodged yet, they haven't paid their fees, but when it comes to the council, we'll,
Okay.
yeah.
Yeah.
Let's
Because
just-
I think if we set a standard now, we stick to it.
Yeah.
I was looking at the swimming pool attendance. That is a lot.
It's massive,
It
yeah.
is, yeah, it is. That's really, really good.
What year?
Both towns, really.
Both towns. I mean, I know Warialda's getting theirs
Been
a
a lot of
lot
people.
from Moree
And Edinburgh.
and in Burrell, and I presume Bingra does too, but I just, like, in February Warialda had 4,713 people go through the gate.
Yeah, we
It was
had
hot.
half a more in Inverell.
Yeah,
Schools have been pushing it.
It was hot too.
yeah, but that's good. Like, it's good figures for us to see.
I mean, it's a very expensive asset and you need to have it used.
Yeah,
And by making it free, I think we've achieved that.
yeah.
You know, Glenn was telling me that he's constantly arguing with people that they're not residents.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
I was going to ask that question next. Somebody said to me I know somebody around the place I went and they never checked to see were they resident.
Nah, that was in my
Well, he's given up arguing with them and he said it's not that many, but All you can do is ask for their licence. if you want.
Yeah.
Get the address on the
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
But I was pleased to see people are using the facilities.
You see the refurbished toilet block at Warrialla Showground?
Yep.
This is an ad for the Warrialla Show, right, coming up, don't miss it.
I did have a, this thing keeps jumping.
I've got all your email addresses, so I'll be sending you membership applications.
Yeah, good.
Just back on the Gwydir news, is it coming out, or haven't seen any?
It came out,
On my phone. Only put one out so far.
they've only put
Yeah.
one out. It was,
When is that?
There's one
Weeks
out
ago?
at
A
the
couple of weeks, isn't
How
it?
do you get onto that? Like,
See it? I didn't see it.
what's
I
the,
know.
I picked up a printed copy down the street.
what's
Yeah,
the website to get a subscription to it, you know?
I'm not sure.
I don't know.
I know
I
they
haven't
dropped,
seen one.
They dropped a heap at the butcher shop and people have been picking them up.
Yeah.
And I think they dropped some at the medical centre, didn't they, Chris? I'm pretty sure. Some were there and people are picking them up and reading
Yeah,
them.
that doesn't count the back. I haven't seen one.
I haven't seen one yet, that's all
No, but
right.
I'll get the email address and we.
Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah, I'd like.
There's nothing on the Shire website, is there?
Well, I had a look and I couldn't find it yet, but yeah.
I got it from somewhere, I think.
I got one from the post office, I think I picked mine up from.
Yeah, they're in every business.
Yeah, but yeah.
I know.
Should you have a list of every business to people subscribe, named down?
Yeah,
Well,
because I know,
I thought they were taking them to your shop.
Oh, I don't know, I haven't been there for a little bit.
and the thing is, when the Shire was doing it and we were paying for them to be mailed out, people weren't getting them. And we were paying for them to be mailed out, like you weren't getting them.
Electronically is perfect, but
Oh, yeah.
I just don't know how to access it yet,
Yeah.
and we'll find out.
It might be under community college website too,
Yeah,
John.
could be. I went to our page and it wasn't there. Well, I couldn't see it. I'm not that flash at that sort of thing.
Maybe if it's on community college, we might need a link on
Yeah.
the council page.
Max, can you tell me what was the problem with dumping pipes at Cropper Creek? That would have been our contractor that did the drainage on the IB Bore Road, I'd imagine. Where else would they put them? It's been mentioned here a couple of times, and I'm thinking, I thought that was the place to put them. Bucket pipes.
Did you want some of them, Linda?
Sorry?
It's on page
Oh, my-
23. 23.
Mentioned elsewhere, but it's on 23, the photo.
I think you can.
What are they supposed to do with them, Max?
Yeah, I don't know.
Dig a hole.
Like sitting beside me, he'll probably take them.
I would have taken some concrete.
Yeah, well, they look like they're usable.
Sort of.
Mr Mayor, could I request that a vote of thanks be sent to our building department boys for the job that they did do on the work that they've carried out on the old toilets
And I think
on the
congratulations.
showgrounds. It's-
Congratulations on the Nicholson Oval.
And
Yeah.
Nicholson Oval, I
Yeah.
think, absolutely fantastic job and, really good. So
I know it's not in, well, we're talking about Nicholson Oval, but at the December meeting, we voted about the name of Nicholson, and we voted that it was going to happen. Then recently, I saw a post on Facebook.
Yes.
Why was that put up when we'd already voted that it was going to happen, and then that opened a can of worms?
It actually embarrassed me.
It was embarrassing to everyone.
Because I've already gone to, I can't think of the name.
Leslie.
Leslie, and said, yes, the council has agreed to your request. And then I see whether you can vote on it.
Yeah, why was that put up on Facebook?
I thought the resolution was to seek public comment.
No. We
No?
passed it in the meeting in December.
Meeting.
No, I know you're right, but I thought that the public comment was prior to that meeting.
Yeah, and we passed it at that December meeting, and then next thing somebody's put it on Facebook, which just opens a can of worms.
Who, like that? No.
Oh, Pillar,
Yeah.
yeah.
Remember we passed it?
Yeah, I mean, I thought we passed it, but
It was
We
passed
definitely passed it.
in the December meeting.
Because I asked Leah if she'd informed Leslie and...
It was actually
and then-
November meeting. We passed it, and then we spoke about it in the December meeting that they hadn't been
You
contacted.
contacted me and said, Leslie had been speaking to you obviously, and said, what's going on? Well,
And we,
and I think you believed like I did that it was
yeah, and then suddenly it's put on Facebook and it's
that's-
opened a big can of worms.
That's why I had myself queried about it as well, because she just asked about it, and then she said, I didn't realise he'd been so involved in junior league.
I knew that did I, but that's beside the point. I mean,
Yeah.
we were given all the information and we had no negative comments at all, and so we approved it, and I informed her, and then you could have knocked me over with a feather when I saw it on Facebook.
Yeah, and then all the negative comments.
Wouldn't matter what you did, there'd be people and some.
Council did it, so therefore it's
Yeah.
I just hope I was in order telling her that we've been approved. Is that correct? Or?
Well, we passed it at the November meeting.
All right, we keep going. It is wonderful to see at our heavy vehicle training and assessment that we have multi-combination vehicles. That was, we couldn't get that at the start.
We're actually a bit disappointed in the operation of the,
Are you?
yeah, and that's one of the big areas that we've made some savings, actually.
Yeah. We've only got one trainer, have we?
Yeah.
It's just
But
not
you
the
actually
income
need two,
coming
but
in.
we do it in conjunction with another provider.
Okay.
What did you say, Helen? There's one?
It's just not generating for the expenditure required to have a truck.
I wonder how well known it is that it's available.
Yeah, and that could be something we look at doing, but at the moment, for the assets that are tied up, the cost of the staffing levels you've got to have and the admin work that goes behind it, it's a huge cost to council.
Well, every year there's either turnover in farming staff or a kid coming back home, and they all need this. And I would be surprised if a lot of the people knew it existed.
Yeah,
I think we should
that must be going elsewhere.
we need to advertise it.
So, because, yeah, like for heavy vehicle training, January, there was 0 paying clients. In February, we had 1.
So tell me, if you do that course, do you then have to go and have a test, or is that you
The test is part of the course.
Yeah, it is. It's competency based, isn't it?
So that you can get the nod from Gwydir Shire to say that you're competent to do that, then you just go and do the theory.
Well, it's all done.
The theory too.
It's
You've got to
all
do the
done.
theory first.
Do you?
Yeah, you've got to pass the driving heavy vehicle, whatever it is, first, then you go
If you
progress.
do the entire course, you've got the licence.
Without going to the RTA? or
Yeah,
whatever it's
well, the RTA have licensed us to do it.
Oh, that's a chance. That's good. That's
Yeah,
excellent.
that should be advertised because that must have only come in recently.
Yeah, I reckon it has to.
Yeah, well, that's why we've got to have the cameras in the thing, because
Yeah.
we can prove that it's been done appropriately and it gets verified by, as I said, the off-site guy that
Yeah,
is qualified as well. But yeah, no,
Okay.
it's a good
that
system.
is very good. Well, I think that would be used if it was well known, because it's a fair bit cheaper, isn't it, to do it this way than through
It's
the...
cheaper than Tamworth.
Right.
Yeah. Which is
Okay. Well, I think more importantly, it's local. We've got to go to Tamworth. So, how's this worked out? Do you supply your own vehicle, like for the multi-combination? We supply that.
we
Yeah.
provide it, yeah.
A couple of side tippers behind the truck. No.
It was good to see how much cranky rock's being used as well. Like, yeah.
I see that there's going to be a house for sale, Northburg Terrace. What sort of money is that? Northburg Terrace?
Oh, yeah, it's been valued. The range of values is quite extraordinary. It ranges from, well, 450 up to 530. We've provided,
What do we decide on for?
well, this is open council, so I probably shouldn't mention the money that we've put in the budget, but, yeah, it's a good house,
Yeah.
you know, I think.
And where's that money going to? Is it going into something?
Consolidated revenue, of course. Yeah. The retiring councillors fund.
Popcorn for farewells.
Is there any questions or Max anymore on any of that? The meeting that we had with the road audit was quite enlightening. When I say it was a virtual meeting, most of the people were in the room, but the, what's he called, Deputy Director, I think, was virtual. But it allayed a lot of my fears. I don't think they're going to be that hard on us, and they've accepted the fact that we had drought, a lot of rain, because I thought they were going to be very critical of Alex's management running around all over the Shire, but I think they've worked that out, don't you, mate?
Yeah, and they've come back and asked for some additional information, which is actually designed to reinforce the information we gave them on the day.
Okay.
Just prove it.
Yeah.
So we've been able to provide that. So
Yeah. No, it was a lot easier going than I was expecting. I thought it was going to be tough. Yeah. Any other questions before I ask for a mover of the recommendation?
well, apart from the report we received, I've also got further that the council inspect DA 5/20242983 Horton Road when the report comes to council. Further, that the building staff be congratulated on the recent work on the Nicholson Oval amenities and Warrior Showground amenities.
Yeah. So now, mover. I'll get to you, Dave, saying you're involved with that. Councillor Colton and then Councillor Mulligan seconded it. I'll put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Investment in waste collection. Helen.
I don't know what's going on with this document. It's jumping all over the place.
Yeah, you got to go on the side. You got to go on the side.
I
jumps.
had it and then it let me just...
Mine's are behaving itself, yours are behaving itself.
Yeah.
Helen.
Yeah, I don't
If you have it
know.
upright, it jumps.
It's doing
Yeah,
strange.
go on the side. Once it's in.
It's in Adobe. and
Mine's
it's-
not jumping at all, it's very stable.
Do you want to lend a mine?
No, I've got it here.
Long as
I mean,
it's not
it's
long
the
as it's not
stand-
jumping out of the bank.
This is why I like paper. It doesn't
Yes, I know.
I know a lot about computers, don't I, Ben? I'll give you a hand.
So it's just the standard investment report for the month and the rates collection. I can take any questions. I can tell you on the sale for unpaid rates, they are doing the title searches and stuff now. So by the middle of April, the real estate agents will have the ability to advertise. So it is progressing slowly. Unfortunately, that company had massive illnesses and it's only a small company, so it has been delayed slightly, but it is all progressing and
It's not something we had to rush into anyway.
no.
The rate collections are on.
Yeah, they're
Target,
still
aren't they?
slightly lower than they have been the last couple of years. But we have brought the process back in that things are going to debt recovery again, so it'll be interesting to see at the end of the year whether it does get back on par with that 95%.
I think one of the most memorable moments of my term here has been when debt recovery went to Ken Turner at the Gully for his water rates. And there was no water supply at the Gully. He was amused, he really was.
Wow.
He came to me with just laughing. He said, I'm a bad debtor with the shop. What'd you do, Ken? Didn't have a water rates. I said, you haven't got water? No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
How long ago was that?
Probably 3 years ago.
Yeah, right. How the hell that happened?
I don't know. Any questions of Helen? It looks really, really healthy, doesn't it?
Need to move and second.
What are unexpected grants?
Unexpended. So that's all the money we've received for any of our
Fine.
grant funded
Unexpended.
programs
Yeah, right.
that are tied specifically to those projects.
Something you got unexpectedly.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
Has the grant, like our reimbursement, has it picked up any or is it still?
Unfortunately not. It does every time Alex jumps up and down. He only sent an email the other day. We're back to $1.7 million out of pocket for flood damage works that we're now chasing again and getting nowhere. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
The most, not really related to that, I don't suppose, but one of the most harmful comments I've heard was an ex-engineer from this Shire who's now working for Transport for New South Wales, who arrived in our Shire and said, Alex, I can see you still don't know how to build roads here. You can probably only guess who that was.
You have curly black hair?
Yeah. He did.
You did?
Know who he's talking about.
He's the one before Richard Jane.
Oh, I thought you meant.
Anyway, I need somebody move that the February monthly rate collection report be received. Jeff, Councillor Smith, Councillor Matthews, seconded that. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
That's no, carried, thank you. Organising Community Services, Leah's not here, so Max will be doing this. Yeah. Very extensive report. Is there any questions on any of this?
Yours does a very good, extensive report. I like the new crossings. I know that's nothing to do with here, but I just saw it as I was going down. Oh no, that's next. Sorry, keep going.
New what?
Crossings.
Where are they?
Zebra. Yeah.
Oh,
And the only reason that came up because in one of the pictures the kids is crossing the crossings. Yeah.
okay. I didn't come that way, I didn't see it. Anyway, it all seems to be humming along. Tharawonga's, being used, which is good. The people that use Tharawonga reckon it's absolutely incredible service. We've always had problems funding that, but they're still being difficult. That's the federal government, isn't it?
Yeah, Tharawonga funding's fine. I think the biggest struggle will be getting the long daycare that Susie's trying to get. She's fighting tooth and nail for it, but it's very tricky. And even if you get the funding, finding staff that are going to be able to actually fill the positions to run the
This
service.
is like Tharawonga,
Yes.
moving long daycare.
It'll be in both towns, so there'll be
yeah.
so many days in each town to try and make it. So
Yeah, it's much needed too.
What's going to happen, like talking about preschools and all that sort of thing, what is going to happen with this new grant that's out that's put
Preschool at school.
Yeah, what will happen to our preschool?
Oh, I reckon we'll put it out of action.
we don't run the Warrior preschool.
No, but what'll happen to
No, but I mean, we mightn't run it, but still, what's going to happen?
Isn't it a free service?
Yes.
So it's going to be very difficult to
At the
compete.
school. Yeah.
Yeah, you do it to compete with.
But it'll only be for, I think, 3 to 5 year olds, not anything under that. Then, so there
Well, you
is.
can't go to preschool before you're 3 anyway.
That's right.
I think they do take
Grandson just
people
started this year.
Or a baby mining.
From what Susie said, that if the preschool shut in Warrialda and it was just the school one, there's no care for 2 to 3 year olds.
Is there now?
Well, I think they're allowed at the Warrialda
They take-
preschool.
Three.
They're not.
Have to be
3-year-old.
3. Have to be 3.
They have to be 3-year-old and got to be toilet trained because my great grandson just started there.
So we still don't have that anyway. So I think it's going to be very detrimental to the preschool. And then if the government walks away, what have we got left?
Yeah.
That's my concern.
That's my concern too. And my understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, did Binga apply for it too, Max?
They did, but they didn't get it.
Yeah. But I mean, if they'd got it, we would have been affected.
Same thing.
Yeah. So it's a bit of a worry.
It's a done deal. We can't think about it. But
Yeah. Oh no, it's a done deal, but it's a bit of a worry. I mean, the only thing is then, can the Warrialda preschool be turned into like a long daycare centre?
I think we'll wait and see what happens. I
I'm
think.
pretty sure the Warrialda preschool's full, isn't it? Like it's
Yeah.
booked
Oh, yeah,
out.
it's full. Yeah, you've got waiting lists.
yeah.
It'll be interesting when the one does go into the school as to whether they can attract staff.
Yeah, and what their capacity of student numbers are, because if there is overflow already in Warrialda, potentially it mightn't, but
Well, the thing is, it'd be very attractive because you probably got other kids at school and you just leave them all there. I think it'll have a big advantage over the current preschool. Like, yeah,
Present preschool just might have to tweak it a bit to make it more attractive.
yeah, somehow, yeah.
Keep them going, but, yeah.
The Willoughby Gwydir peer tutoring program is a great thing. You might remember this Rebecca Dew. She was at the Orange Festival last year as an exchange kid. And she was a really, really bright girl that engaged with you, and she put this to me. She said, we would be happy to tutor anyone that's a bit interested, with our high school student or year 11. And anyway, I handed it over to Susie, and it's gone ahead, and I think it's a really, really nice thing for them to do, and I'm really pleased it's Willoughby does it, John.
Where's that?
It's on page 38. And Willoughby's funding it.
It reminds me, I've had a request for, that perhaps Willoughby could provide a dragon for the Orange Festival. Would you be able to take that up with the mayor?
Yeah, okay. I've got a ringer, yeah, so I can do that.
That'd make Councillor Matthews and I very happy.
You want a dragon boat as well?
No, just a dragon. They have set them up before. You know, one of those just long dragons.
Yeah, people. Yeah.
And yeah, like when we went down to the parade down there. And that would be in the parade, Max?
Yes.
You're going to be in the head of them, geez.
As a mere humble public servant, I'd be in the rear.
Is there any questions on this report? No? I ask for a mover of the recommendation. Thank you, Councillor Matthews, Councillor Mulligan. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Carried. Now, we've got a bit of skipping through to do the monthly action progress reports there. And I didn't mark, I didn't have this actually to mark it. Oh, this is the child safe policy, is it? Yeah. This would just be for information only.
Yes, it is.
See, it's pretty extensive. And it's something that's been put on us. But because of the misbehaviour of some people, not here, I don't think.
We're doing, which, we're
Oh, I'm
doing,
just talking about the child state policy.
That's
We don't have to do anything about it. Oh, do we, or do we got to accept it?
no, you don't have to.
No.
It's just say you've got a copy of it.
There it is, yeah.
Wouldn't we have to do, would
88. Yeah. Sorry, Bill?
that child, haven't you got to do that if you go anywhere near the schools or anything like that?
Give you everything to do with children.
Working with children now.
Yeah.
it's
working with
virtually for
children.
everything.
Nearly everything, you would have had to get one.
Yeah, we had to do one, yeah.
Yeah, it's for everything. Whether you work
Yeah.
on a barbecue or whatever.
I just thought with the school donations and that when you go and do school
Oh,
awards and all that type of thing.
Yeah, definitely.
no, on presentation days, surely not. To shake a kid's hand.
Yeah, I think you have to do it for everything.
Yeah.
That's my understanding.
That's my understanding anyway.
I don't have one, I've never been asked for one.
No, I think that's the tricky bit. Like, it's expected everyone has one, but how do you know whether people do legitimately
Yeah,
have one or not
yeah.
for all those social events?
I would have thought you could shake a kid's hand in a public hall without too many repercussions. Yeah.
No.
Anyway, we go to page 112, 6.5 inland rail level crossings. Alex spoke at length about this at our committee meeting. I think he's recommending that we go ahead with this.
The crux is that we really, they're saying that they're safe and
And he doesn't think
they
that.
complies. Well, we're reflecting the concerns of some community members,
Yeah.
but they're saying that it complies with the Australian standard. But I was talking to Alex the other day. There are so many level crossings when there are lights, and yet for some reason they won't do.
That was appropriate, wasn't it? That was
Yeah,
appropriate.
it was. Yeah.
You come to train.
Yeah.
Nothing
Yeah.
So anyway, they reckon you cannot have lights without barriers now, without the arm coming down.
Oh,
So
yeah.
So, with the new highway crossing at Bullaroo.
there's heaps of examples. You drive down to, inland to Bathurst and places like that, you're always coming across level crossings with lights and no
I think that.
barriers.
I don't think you need the barrier really. If you can't stop for a light, you're doomed anyway.
I was at the Tumba Road at the meeting with them, and I mean, they stuck a light down and they said, you need so many metres, something like that, can you see that light? And look, there's no room to argue if they go through this Alcan model, there's no room to argue.
Yeah,
I guess the point being is, the council's got 10 level crossings that it has to maintain now. As long as the bitumen along, and that's probably the worst thing about them, but anyway, that's...
I think maybe our minute could. I'm thinking of the future and litigation, and I guess we're not going to be responsible as a council, but I think we could probably accept this. Not very happy about doing it, but
Well, one of the issues I will say, I did get stuck on the crossing, and I got a ring.
you don't have much time.
I know, you haven't got, well, look at the bridge, the bridge just recently, I mean, you haven't got much time, so, because where they're talking about, it's very narrow, they're leaving you basically nearly the minimum amount of time to get across it, which is 20-something rather.
So just if you're going to ring someone, get off your machine and do it from over on the side.
Well, you want if, even the one at Gilgil they're talking about there, it comes up, where the truck stalls or something or other.
Yeah.
There's a problem there, so, who are you going to ring? Who do you tell to stop, better stop the train coming?
Oh, the one at Grubel.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's been like that ever since I've been here. It's been a very steep approach.
Yeah,
it obviously hasn't had the train traffic that's let's put it in inverted commas, that eventually will come there, but when?
Once again, you can't argue with their model. If that's what their model says, that's what it says.
But we could word it somehow or other that we reluctantly support, agree to
Accept
them. Yeah. Can we do that, Max?
How about if I say further that the council notes that it has residents who are concerned that the safety standards being applied are questionable.
Excellent.
Good way of putting it. So if that's the case, I'd be looking for a mover. Thank you, Councillor Mulligan. Seconded. Smith. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay, very good. Upcoming meeting dates, here we go. This is our farewell round for a lot of us.
Set the champagne at each one.
Hang a while then. Does anybody have any problem with any of these dates?
No.
No,
I had a phone
got the
call.
show finished, that'll be right.
Phone call from a resident yesterday saying that and I don't know who's arranging it, you might know, they'd arranged for Adam Marshall to come down and talk.
Oh, yeah, Philippa, what's her name? Morris rang me.
Well, Irene Wynn rang me, and they've arranged to come down and
Adam to come talk to the, what's it called, Vision 2020, about what it's like to be a councillor.
yeah.
And I thought, you've got 9 councillors in the Shire. And then Philippa rang me and she said, I thought it might have been protocol to let you know, and would you like to be there? And I said, of course I would. I think it's in really bad taste.
I do too, because I thought, wouldn't it have been better talking to us and
Showing,
We've had nothing to do with it.
No.
This is the first time.
showing complete disrespect for our current council, I believe.
yeah. So who is, or is it?
I don't know who it is.
Shouldn't we pursue it to do one in Warrigal as well?
Oh yeah, it's on the list here.
We're going to put it up on Facebook or something and talk about, and they got Adam Marshall coming down.
She said she'd let me know when they had a date. And
Well, my understanding it was the 17th of April.
I haven't got any date yet. Anyway,
That's the understanding I had, and
I would
Adam,
like to see at least all the English councillors there.
Yeah.
I think you should be there.
But I think if you do it in one town, it should be in both towns.
No, it's Vision 2020 doing it. It's nothing to do with the council, but I got invited to attend it.
Yeah,
And I
right.
would suggest that all the councillors that want to go should be there.
but the thing is, you don't want, like you saying it should be in both towns, I totally agree, but you don't want them thinking that council like Vision 2020 or whoever has organised this, it hasn't been council. So you don't want Warrialda thinking, oh, they've organised for one in Binga and not one up here.
The Warrialda Chamber may do the same thing, who knows? I don't know. But I think it's completely independent of us. We're doing our own thing in each town.
Yep.
So that's got it covered, I believe. Yeah.
I think,
Be
I
made
think,
clear, I
I
think.
think we need to advertise that very clearly and very,
Yeah.
very soon.
Pretty soon.
Yeah.
What was the
In light of what Vision 2020 is behind their backs.
The nominations actually close the next day on the 14th of August.
August.
But people should have, but people should have made up their mind they're going to run or not run.
But perhaps they should be having one now to give them something to think about.
Yeah, look, it's catch-22 that, I don't know.
No, you said it the day before you're going to make your mind up, isn't it?
No, 14 at the. What'd you say?
The two that the council have
13th of
organised
August.
for the councillors
Oh.
is August.
It's the day before you've got to nominate.
Yeah.
But by then you should know whether, like, there should be a clarification process on the 13th to decide yes you do or no you don't once you ask those questions.
You could also, you've got the 23rd, you've got all these meetings,
And
community
it's
meetings.
talked about in the community
Community
meetings.
meetings
Even
in
last
May.
year, you
Yeah.
brought it up in the community meetings.
And actually, if there's people that come along that need assistance to get their nominations in order, we could help them. I mean, it'll be a sit-down, interactive thing. So,
Sometimes they need
So are you?
Hey,
sometimes they need to borrow money to put their nomination in. You did.
Are you going to?
only $5.
Are you definitely standing down, or might you reconsider?
No, I've made it quite clear that I'm not running again.
I'm not going. I don't wish to be the Joe Biden of the Gwydir Shire Council.
It's not nearly too late, no, but you'll just make it. All right, so
Do you want me to formally note that gesture on
yeah.
in the recording so
Glad
people
they
know?
can't see.
Max, if I could just make one comment on the, I don't, you usually do a printout of the community meetings. I don't know anybody that's got any benefit really out of those. I'm not, like you give a bit of a handout when you go around the place. I think you're better just giving a bit of a talk.
yeah.
Keep it as a conversation. I don't know anybody who's read them because, yeah.
That's what we do. That's like an agenda.
It is there, John, yeah.
That's addressed, each topic's addressed by talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure it needs to be a hand. I don't know, it's up to you.
Oh, well, that doesn't cost much.
I thought they've run very well in the past.
Yeah.
I mean, when we first kicked off there, we'd say, right, over to you, and you just get hunted with criticism. And it was better to have an agenda with a focus and explain what we're up to, what we're trying to do, and then you still
get abused.
an opportunity to get abused if you want to. Yeah.
Adamant for that, you can do that at the very end.
They're mostly pretty good.
That's all right, no, that's all right.
The council of farewell function, which is for the 24th of August, which is after the nomination day, so we'll know if you're not running. But if you aren't running, you should start thinking about what family members you would like, because we need to send out invitations. So we need to know
What do you
who
expect?
you would like us to invite.
What would you expect as a number? I mean, I'm saying this because the last one I went to, person being farewelled invited 50 people or something.
Really?
It's almost sure.
No. It's being recorded, I think.
Oh, right.
Well, it's at the Warrialda Showground, if that helps.
Yeah, no, we would expect you to actually invite your immediate family. That's reasonable.
Are we going to your house?
Not second.
I don't know. That'd be easy, wouldn't it?
It'll be held at the Roxy, and we've already got some entertainment lined up.
Max is going to be the centre of attention.
No, not this time. If anyone upsets me between now and the 24th,
Yeah. Oh, mate. All right. So that you can see the recommendation, and it's moving the May meeting. I think there's 5 Thursdays, isn't there, in May?
yeah. Yes.
So technically, our meeting date is always the last Thursday of the month. So it should have been there anyway, I believe. So would somebody like to move that if you're happy with it? Thank you, Councillor Mulligan, seconder. Councillor Moore. No questions, I put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Current projects, there's a list of them, that's only for your,
I think Councillor Calvin was concerned that some projects might not be completed.
Yeah, I was.
But all those ones there have either substantially commenced or will commence, and they will be finished.
Very
a
good.
lot better if you could go like that and make it bigger.
I'd like them to be finished while this council's on. So, when I was reading through this, what's left to be done at the netball court? Because it says under construction.
Is it the signboard?
Which one are you talking
Covered netball court, Gwydir Oval.
What where the electronic sign's going there?
It's up, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
But that's for the football.
No, not the scoreboard, I thought, I might be completely wrong.
No, that's the
Still
electronic.
going to go out here?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
But that's
going.
not till the new building.
New building's been built. That's not on here.
And I know that Brad White was down there the other day with a cherry picker, so there must be.
No, that was putting the football
that was putting the
signpost.
Okay.
What do you call it? Scoreboard.
Is it marked? Has all the markings
about? Have
gone
the
down?
lights been finished yet?
I think they are, I was there the other day.
I don't know. It just says under construction. And then what's left to do on the caravan park amenities?
It's actually probably finished other than landscaping.
Okay. Now, Upper Horton Sports Club amenities. We spoke about this before you went off, I think, Max, or maybe while you were off. I spoke to Coop because they had the Horton Sports thing at New Year's Eve, and I thought the shower block would be there. And Coop sent a picture of it. It's still not ready to be transported there. The way I looked at it back then, that was back in November or something, it was built. So where's it up to?
Built off-site, you mean, to be delivered? Like I don't know, a transportable?
It was, Coop sent a photo of it because I had somebody from the, Lindsay asked me.
Well, going back.
And then, sorry, I know I'm being a
I
pain.
got keep going.
The interpretive centre, so the slab's down, how long before it started on?
It's all the materials have been ordered. So obviously when the materials arrive, they'll start putting it together. One of the things
Going
that's...
right back, if I can, to this, your report at the beginning, Max, but I meant to mention this, it's got Telstra Limited putting a tower in, are they, at Horton? 20 metre monopole, I don't really know what that means, but...
Yeah, I don't know either.
Because remember, I had a call from
Yes.
Horton Club,
Yep,
and
yep.
they wanted to know whether they'd do this or was it, I put them on to somebody, I don't know, Telstra, I think.
Bloke from Tamworth.
Yeah, I think I did.
I think it is some sort of a reception
Communication
thing.
thing.
Or a booster.
Yeah, something like that.
Personal booster.
I don't think it's not exactly a tower, but
Booster.
It's only 20 metres high.
20 metres high is not going to do a real good
No.
job.
And when we were talking about the living classroom buildings the other day and the power problem, you talked about maybe going with a different power company, can we, to get that going?
No, we finally got the number that we need, and the only one that's available is some mob in Glen Innes, but they're fully booked. There's only,
Put a transformer in, you're talking about, aren't you?
no, well, you've got to have the appropriate qualification to do it. There's
Yeah,
only really
that's
two
it, a
companies.
contractor to put a
Yeah,
transformer in.
Is it Bros?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. And Curry, they're the only two that do it, and the other mob are fully booked out, so we're stuck with waiting for Curry Power to be able to fit it in.
You
I
got
mean,
more?
it's almost like you wonder how anything ever gets done that requires electricity.
Exactly. Like, as you said, well, there'd be people waiting. I mean, that's my understanding is the bookings up there is getting more and more, and we need it finished for.
Yep. Yes.
Max, have you been working on this drought resilience plan that's supposedly within Rob?
Which one?
Drought
Oh,
resilience.
yeah. Oh, well, SNK, huh?
Oh, yeah, okay. Is it likely we're going to get water boards?
Yeah.
Is there enough funding there?
What they're doing is actually finding all the relevant locations
Right.
and getting the approvals put in place.
Is North Star one of them?
I don't know
No.
the intimate details.
No.
I think, aren't we doing a standpipe at North Star?
Well, I thought that was the aim to do that.
Yeah, but I think we might be doing one at North Star anyway,
Oh.
a coin operated one.
They're getting permission to drill the holes, aren't they?
No, I think that once we do the planning across Inverell and Gwydir, then we can get the funding under the drought resilience
Okay.
program. Yeah.
When you were saying these projects are going to be complete, they won't be. IB Boiler
Some
won't
of
be.
them
County Boundary won't be.
I think
They'll be-
Getter's already done.
They'll be
Yeah,
in a state that they can't be stopped.
Oh, I know.
For example.
What's the water treatment plant at Gravesend going to do? Just clean it up.
Oh, well, the water has got a lot of turbidity in it. It's
Yeah.
going to be, it's a $3 million project.
Is that a reverse osmosis or how's that work? Or just a
It
filter?
probably is reverse. It's probably similar to North Star.
Yeah.
It was 3 million, wasn't it? Yeah. We pay 750,000 in the balance.
All right, any other questions on all of that? Grant funding management? I think there's a...
If you, Councillor Galvin, if you tick the ones you're particularly interested in, and I'll get you more details on them. Okay.
I've ticked quite a few here. The skate park's coming along well from looks about, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Although they're managing to upset the residents of the caravan park
Why?
because their trucks are coming through past, past their caravans.
Must be a hell of an inconvenience, that.
What do you mean their trucks are coming past the
Get the trucks in, down, they go
All
through the
soil
caravan
and all
park
that
to
was
come
delivered,
round.
like through the caravan park rather than.
Just can't have progress.
I think most of the truck stuff's done now though, isn't it?
It looks like heaps of different shape now.
Yeah.
Current projects I have, office recommendation information is noted. Someone moved that. Oh, Kelly, you got a question?
Just one thing. Down near the dog pound, dog
Yes.
running area, they put a whole heap of not footpaths, but that's that bike track, isn't it? There's a bike track at Warriola being put down.
Oh, over near Nicholson Oval, yeah.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's, yeah.
Back
that
into the
got rounded
dog
out
run,
some-
the dog run.
In the
Yes,
off
that
leash.
was fully funded by the Department of Transport.
Yeah.
They had some money and, they asked if we'd like one of those for
Alex
kids
got
and we
that,
said
didn't
yes.
Yeah.
eh?
Alex got that, didn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was going to put it down the creek, but wasn't suitable.
That dog
No.
thing needs trees. I mean, how's the dog going to do what he's got to do without a tree?
Yeah. But all that signage and that's got to go up for that yet, haven't they? All the stop signs and roundabouts.
It does need some shade though.
Yes, all that stuff has to go up.
So I have,
Where are we up to with the
Right.
Warriata green space?
that must be about to be demolished, is it?
Oh, well, actually, Derek,
So Derek's taking the shed down,
well,
isn't
yeah, Derek's taken the shed down. We needed to eliminate that shed so that we could put the car park in because we've got a deadline of finishing
he? No.
by the 30th of June for the car park. And then we've got the next round of funding. We'll do the green space in stage 2 of the development.
It's these Crawfords that are going to do it. They're finished here, have they? Or-
Yeah,
So
actually,
They're out the front now.
yeah, Crawfords are actually going to take the tree out of the river as well.
Are they?
They've given us a quote for that, yeah, which is quite competitive.
They're
Um,
going to do it the way I do it?
I was gonna say similar style.
no. But I did have an email come in yesterday where someone suggested we should paint that tree blue. I don't know whether she meant painting it blue in the river.
Ended up making
As long as you don't use lead paint.
I was just going to say, then the water would. Oh, something.
You have to paint
No,
it
and
now.
that's happening on the 8th of April, I've been told. That
The
they,
tree.
and we're going to,
I'll be here that day.
we're going to be well, you could cut the ribbon on that too. if you want.
On the tree, let it go back in.
that the quote takes it out of the water and then relocates it somewhere where it can be stored
Okay.
and eventually, cut up.
So then we can start on that riverbank project that we got the funding from once that tree's gone.
I'll get it out first.
Yes, we can. And that's all.
And will in that funding, the pontoon goes back there,
The
doesn't it?
pontoon goes back in.
Wasn't there some requirement we put 2 trees in, replace the one that...
Yeah, but they can be somewhere
No, somewhere in the river.
Yeah.
That's how crazy things are.
further up.
Up or down?
But the pontoon we'll replace will be very large poles, so it'll go up and down a lot further than what the...
Are you going to actually do it the way I suggested or not? When it first went in,
What did you
I
say?
spoke to you about it. I said it should have a cable on it going upstream.
Oh, it's
It'll
all
wash
been,
away, but I was assured it wouldn't.
well, it shouldn't have, except for that bloody tree.
Well, I don't care. That's it.
Well, the tree's gone now, so we won't have a big fairy tree.
There's another great big one
Plenty of trees in the river.
down up further, yeah. Another.
It's going to be protected by a groin
A
going.
groin.
That's right.
Cool, that'd be painful if a tree comes in.
Oh, well, that's good. I'm glad that's all happening.
Well, I hope it,
And,
I hope
and
it is.
the, also the other work up underneath the golf course is going to be progressed as well.
Yeah.
And it's going to cost substantially less than what we originally estimated. So.
Very good. Very good.
I'll have another go.
Sorry.
6.7 current projects. The recommendation and information is noted. I'll move it. Councillor Galvin, and a seconder, please. Councillor Moore, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Good. 6.8 draft donations budget.
What's this one?
Jim, you've all had a look at them. Is there any problems with any of them?
Pretty much just
What we usually do.
You do.
The,
Next, Warrior Apex, they don't apply for any funding?
yeah, they're here.
Apex?
Yes.
it's only in kind support.
Oh, yeah.
In fact, when I was doing that, I wasn't even sure Apex are still active.
Yeah, they are.
They are.
Just,
Yes.
This unallocated donation request received in here is very, very important. Because you'd be surprised how many things do come through, and there are often only little amounts, but
Yeah,
you need that up your sleeve, don't
You
you?
do, because
they're very
they,
useful.
it's the same with the businesses. They walk
Yeah.
into all the businesses every day asking for money for
They would.
this.
Yeah. Is there anything that sticks out? I couldn't see too much wrong with it.
No, I couldn't see anything to.
I didn't see on there, North Star don't seek any funding for the campground.
No.
Yeah, I don't know.
We haven't.
Camp draft's one of those things that actually make money.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
Same with the, Upper Horton Rodeo.
There's an allocation for them.
But they actually make a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
Mm.
There's a Warrior Island camp draft too, but they never seek
We
funding.
used to help the dog, like the dog training thing. But
Yard dog trials.
That was here, Bingo.
oh no, the one up at Upper Horton.
Ah.
They used to have a big yard dog trial and sale.
An
didn't they?
auction,
Yeah.
May not do it now.
Madden's used to run that, I think.
Yeah, anyway, it's quite extensive, isn't it? It's a lot of money. Unfortunately, well, not unfortunately, but this is what councils in small communities have to do. A lot of it's foregone income, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah,
It all used?
Well, it's usually rates and water rates and things like that.
Yeah.
See, the Willoughby exchange is 10,000, which is fine. What, do you think Willoughby does the same? They've got a lot better. We had trouble, and I think.
I think that we support it a lot more than
Yeah,
we do.
yeah. I read somewhere recently, in a council thing, that Willoughby had come on board a lot more tenure. I had a yarn to her, and she was not aware of how stingy they were. And I think she fixed it a bit.
Yeah. I think that we probably put more into it because I think the kids going from here down to Willoughby,
Get more out.
Chatswood, get infinitely more,
Yeah.
especially the big city experience, climbing the bridge, going to a football game,
Yeah.
for example, that sort of.
last year was the first year that I went down to the Willoughby exchange program, and when we went and spoke to the kids that afternoon, I actually think they got a lot out of that. Like, I don't think the city kids realised what we do in the country, and I don't think the country kids, our kids, realised what the councillors do. Does that make sense? So
That's very true, but I think the infinite, as Max said, benefit our kids get is that you do your best to dispel the small town syndrome that happens here, and in our Shire. Whereas the city kids haven't got that anyway.
yeah.
But they need to know that the world's bigger than Bingra or Warialda.
Yeah, and I think that all came out too.
You had a meeting with all of them down in that community centre, didn't you?
When we went down to that community
I wasn't
centre and we
there.
had a big yarn to them, I thought that was very beneficial. I don't know whether we do that when they come here, whether we have a yarn.
We don't.
No,
No,
well,
we
I
don't.
think that we need to do that.
That's always, actually, every time I've been to those things, those sort of like debriefs, they're always really interesting.
Yeah, well, I found that very interesting for myself, and I'm sure, well, I think every child that was there, actually, they were interested, and
Well, they were.
really,
There was some of the Willoughby kids were actually asking about
asking-
the councillor to run the council
Really?
when they turned 18.
yeah, they were all very interested in that, and I think we need to do something like that when they come here as well.
We can do it.
And I think it is a great thing both ways, because, like us saying, you saying what you said about the city kids, well, the country kids going down there, getting them out, but the city kids, they don't know. A lot of them don't know what's the other side of the.
It is enlightenment, yeah.
Yeah. So I think it's beneficial. We're very lucky to have it both ways.
Shining lights, this Rebecca Jew. She's absolutely incredible.
Yeah.
Really good kid. Really smart. Too.
And I hope we can keep continuing it with new council and all that sort of thing. I hope, because I think it is a very important thing.
I think it's
That's my opinion anyway.
I think it's embedded now, as, like it's another thing that I don't know why they would want to change it.
Yeah.
I think it's really strong too at the moment.
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask for a move that the proposed draft donations list be advertised with the 24-25 draft operational plan.
Councillor Galvin.
Mr. Galvin, moved it, seconded.
Seconded.
Councillor Moore. I'll put that motion. Those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Councillor reports. Councillor Carlton, go with you.
Nothing.
Nothing. Bearing in mind you can go to the confidential meeting if you would like to. Councillor Galvin, now here we go. She's got a little
I've got a letter. I received this letter from a resident, and actually, yeah, I think it's a good idea. It's to whom it may concern. I'm writing to you to inquire about the possibility of installing an audio frequency induction loop in the Roxy Theatre. A hearing loop is a special type of sound system for use by people with hearing aids. The hearing loop provided a magnetic wireless signal that gets picked up by the hearing aid. This then blocks out background noise and enables the hearing aid wearer to hear the production, movie or function they are attending in the Roxy Theatre. Having one available to those who use hearing aids will open the possibilities for them to attend live theatre production, monthly movie afternoons and any other function being held in the theatre. As our demographics show, the average age of a Binga resident is 65 years. Therefore, I am sure many residents and visitors would benefit from this being installed. Thank you for considering my request, and I look forward to hearing from you with an outcome. Margaret Hinksman, who's a new resident who's just building a new house here, and she has her mother with her as well. And I think, yeah, that would be beneficial for everyone.
I'm sure it would.
Yeah.
We'll just take that on board. Yeah, anything else?
No,
That's it. Councillor Pitt.
No, I've got nothing.
Anzac Day, have you got anything about that?
Nothing more, but
Having a dinner?
uh,
They're having a dinner in Warialda.
well, they will after the service. They're going to have a
Yeah. That's open to everybody?
Huh?
Does that happen to everyone? Or have you got to be a...
I don't know. They had a
The
meeting
way
the other night, I wasn't there, so.
I read it wasn't happening to everyone, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think it might have,
What's that?
you might have to,
What's that for?
put your name down so that they know.
Yeah. Anyway,
But everything else is, they've got a bit, I think they've half located a band or a part of a band as well for the march and,
who's the speaker? Who's speaking at the hall?
I think it's, the headmaster of the convent school, I think it's his father.
Okay.
He was,
Yeah.
I did meet him, he lives up, well, I think he's from Toowoomba or somewhere, but his son lives in the same street as us.
Okay.
He was an ex.
Yeah, right. Thanks, Jeff. That's you? Got you covered? Yep.
Yeah.
All right, councillor. Go on.
Only to reinforce the request from the community for a Chinese dragon from Willoughby.
Tell me more about that, because I've got this written down to ring the mayor and ask for a dragon. I need more information. How long?
How long's the dragon?
What, a big dragon or a little one?
I think you
I believe,
4, 6, 8, 10 people dragons.
Right.
yeah,
Yes, imagine having an 8-person dragon in the spare nearly a whole
That's
That
right.
would be a good thing for
his
the
name
students, the students.
Listen, I do need more information. You going, is the idea of it just to go in the parade? is it?
the idea
Get the
that
kids to be the dragon.
it's only been given to me as a concept that would be interesting in the year of the dragon to have a dragon for the Orange Festival to be part of the
Maybe if
parade.
you're going to do the kids, you want a couple. I'll put it to the mayor down there and see what
Yeah.
come up with. Right.
Thank you.
No trouble. Anything else, Chris?
No, nothing else.
That girl we had for Australia Day, John.
Yeah.
That's what I thought.
She's a dragon boat racer.
Yeah.
This is very different. This is a dragon.
Dragon, yeah.
I don't think a dragon boat would go all that well in the river at this
Still a
stage.
dragon.
Dragon.
Still a dragon.
It would be dragon for sure.
Anything else, Councillor Moore? Did you have anything?
Oh,
You've finished, haven't you, Chris?
Yes.
You're finished, Chris?
Yes, mate.
There's a sign down at the bottom of the 3 mile at the rest area there that's been knocked over. It's laying down for a couple of weeks now.
Right.
Which, whereabouts?
Down the bottom of the 3.
Can I
On MR6.
just interrupt there for a minute? It's not something I was going to bring up with Alex and Curly. I was going to mention that one too. It's been down for probably a week. But there's a lot of signs around. There's one out at Copper Creek, the one going on to, from the Verona Downs Road to
Oh, yeah, back the other
where
way.
it comes on. I think the main sign might have come off and they've got it propped there. So anyone coming that way,
The wrong way.
it points to Warrialla going out to
At the
North Star or across the Yallaroy.
What's the other way?
But there's a lot, even the Oregon Road, one at the top of 3 miles, sort of pointing down in the, it wouldn't take a lot to, but there's a lot of, I think it was brought up at a couple of meetings ago, some of the signs are getting a bit ragged, and I think it's a good, it's a good thing for our Shire.
I think at the Rail tip too, Max, and nothing.
Sorry, Curly, I didn't mean that.
Good. I brought up about the bins in front of the bakery, why we got 2 bins together there instead of one further down the street or whatever. And one looks pretty raggedy,
In front of what?
in front of the bakery at Warrialla. Max, can we get Cole to go and talk to IGA about the seat in the front of their place there? It's the piece in front of it's black, like it's a fair area that's black out front. People sit there and smoke and
You mean the tiles or whatever they're
all
called?
the pavers and other.
Pavers, yeah.
I don't know whether it's up to us to pressure clean it or whether they should tidy it up or whatever, but it just needs a good tidy up around there.
The shop, shouldn't it?
In Bingara, there's a good example where the shops
For
are.
example, this morning, they just watered the street here this morning, washed the footpath up.
Yeah, that's the shops.
That's me. So why can't our shops do it? I don't know.
Well,
Speak to the shop.
I probably think we're supposed to do it, but we're not.
We, like quite often, all the shops do it here.
So the council will loan you the gear, don't they, to do the pressure cleaning?
Well, no, we just
Didn't you have a steam plan or something?
We do
Yeah,
it.
there is, but they do that every now and then. The council does it, but we just do our own. Like we did have that working bee where
Yeah,
we
that's
all got
right.
in and did it on one day, but like you get the boys get out with the hose and
In your own shop to
yeah.
keep it.
That's right, exactly. And the other thing, Max, was, North Star Caravan Park. I haven't heard from Carmel about what was going to happen there. Carmen.
Okay, thanks.
Isn't it contracted out?
Right.
Isn't it leased?
Yeah, it's my understanding that the people that run the
Sure.
the vicarage, is it the vicarage?
Yeah, but
They wanted to keep it. Like initially, they were sort of, I thought, happy to let that woman take it over, but now they've decided, no, we want to keep it. So, but I have to find out a little bit more about it.
All right, thank you, that's it.
Just a couple of ones. I did get a complaint about a water laying on the side of the road at North Star, which I just forwarded that email on to Alex.
Yeah.
It looks like there's a truck turning there or something or other anyway. It just needs a little bit further investigation. Obviously, if the rain doesn't help it, its cause. The only other question I had was charging stations.
Yeah.
How are they going?
Waiting to get one put in for nothing
Well,
or more.
the state government were undertaking a feasibility study in both towns. I haven't seen the results of that, so I don't know. But that was the first stage, and then if it's feasible, I'd imagine there's some kind of government grant you can then apply for.
I just keep hearing the percentage of EVs is increasing all the time, and if you're going to get people to come and visit the towns, you're going to need a charging station somewhere.
I thought NRMA were putting
They were doing it too, yeah.
doing something, because I know there's a comment that I heard was that these Tesla ones that have gone up don't only do Teslas.
Oh, really?
Apparently there's two different fittings.
Yeah, Tesla do Tesla only. Yeah.
So
Most
be a
people
little
with
bit careful
electric
with what you
vehicles
get.
have adapters. They can plug into it.
It's just important that you have three-phase power, quicker charge. And I was speaking to somebody from, I think, Essential Energy a while ago, and he said that it's getting really simple now. They can just run it down a pole in the street, and you can an ordinary car park, you pull in and there it is. But I guess it's credit card operated, I don't know how that works.
It's an app, I think.
Yeah, right. I think it'll come in time. We'll get it for pretty cheap, but we didn't want to go out and spend the money initially.
Yeah, that's correct.
Until if they upgrade it and it's different, you know what it's like. You put it in and then it's no good, and you've spent that money. It's changing different things. And the other thing, I mean, look how long it's taking to get power up there. We probably won't get power to it.
Anything else?
Oh, good, thanks.
Thank you. Well, I've got something I really want to talk about in the confidential session, but I just would comment that I was invited to open a day, or not open, just sort of welcome people to the Bingra volunteers, what would you call it? Any volunteer group in Bingra are invited to put up a stand at Gwydir Oval, was it a couple of weekends ago? And it was absolutely astounding. There was 44 invitations issued and 39 turned up.
39 stands.
39 groups, organisations. A lot of the people were in three of them, but I just think it was a great demonstration of what we've actually got. People keep saying volunteerism's not is on the decline. My comment would be volunteerism tends to be more in the elderly part of our community, but it's still there, it's still strong. And there was a very good display of what's available, and I just made the comment that on the day, if you're coming as a new resident into a town, good way to get involved, good way to get and meet people is to join something and volunteer. I hope that message got through. But, in saying that, when you speak at something like that, I don't think anyone listens. It's very, very difficult speaking to an audience who's not engaged. Yeah.
Talking to that, Mr Mayor, it was also pleasing to note from Carl Turley reported that there's now 6 members of Warriolda SES. So Warrialda SES is up and running.
back going. And I spoke to the SES people here that day, and they said all the equipment's back in the shed, the vehicles are there. It's all together, which is great. Yeah.
Can I raise something? Can I raise something?
Yes, you can.
The Northern Slopes Land Care Association have written a letter. Initially, the council cooperated with the local land care and we paid 50% of an officer, and that's now changed. We aren't contributing directly to the salary costs, although we do provide officers and a car. But as part of that deal originally, we nominated a person to be on the committee, and I don't think it's needed anymore. So unless the council particularly want to have a nomination on that committee, I think we could just agree to their request to have it taken off, because
Grant them their independence.
and they're doing they're redoing their constitution. They didn't see that it was necessary to have a councillor on there.
No.
Plus 90% of the time, Max, their meetings fell when we were in here.
Yeah.
So are you happy if I just agree to that? Great, thank you. The other thing, I don't know whether you want to do it in confidential session or here. I do have the report about the council building.
Well, I think we can do that in open meeting, Max.
Yeah, I thought so too. I didn't want to hand it out earlier because I knew you'd read it and not listen to it.
That's,
It's,
I was to say that is.
can I just keep one? We aren't ready to accept it yet because for two reasons. One is, Strutskys would like to have the approved DA so that if there's anything that requires some adjustment to the costings, that they deal with it after the approval, which is reasonable. And the other thing is that they believe they can negotiate further savings from the preferred contractor. And the preferred contractor is Shane Brennan Constructions
Oh, I've got one.
from Kenworth.
Tamworth,
Yeah, SB's. Yes.
And their current price, although this may actually be further reduced, is $5,830,123.11.
Max, are they ready to start when we are? Or?
Yes, they are.
Very good.
In fact, they've given such a competitive price because they don't have any big jobs at the moment. They've only got small ones and they're ready to go. So it's actually good timing.
So when are they starting?
Oh, well, we have to wait till we get the approval
Yeah.
first before.
A DA.
Um,
So, Max, what buildings are they constructed?
That's all.
I think
There's
it's.
details in there.
I didn't get to read.
Yeah, I know. Strutsy's are confident that they've got the ability to do the job, and the price is, I think, very competitive for the building we're getting.
So take this home and read it, Max. That's all.
Yeah. And you will I'd say that depending on when the DA is approved, we could either resolve to accept it in the April meeting, if that's, or even an earlier special meeting, if the DA's, do you know when they earmarked that, or?
No.
You won't be here though.
Oh, but
We've got the budget workshop meeting on the 11th, and then the council meeting's only the week later on the 18th.
No. Oh, April.
Yeah.
Sorry. Yeah.
Because then the next
I'll
council
be an
meeting,
apology on the 18th of April.
because then the next council meeting then's not till the 30th of May.
That's right.
Maybe have a special.
So you won't be here on the 18th of April, all right? So we might be able to divert this building to Warrialda then if you're not going to be here.
Now.
I'm not sure if Catherine will be here. Is she?
you got the look.
Catherine's going to be away. It'll be easy.
Yeah, well, we're already knocking down the buildings up there.
That's right. Put it in there.
I think they're aiming for a completion in,
44 weeks.
Oh, actually, if you go, I have read it. If you go through, they've actually,
A year.
the preferred one, it says in there they've reduced their build time.
36 weeks.
Yeah,
Yeah, I just read
their
that.
timeline is actually to be finished by the end of June next year. Is it June?
February.
Or February?
Oh,
I could, if you were going to do this at that meeting, I could zoom into it.
well,
You can zoom in, but you can't.
can't wait. Don't worry, we won't move it.
Don't worry, Nev.
Yeah, I know.
Just watch out what you have for lunch. You could have something in it.
Yeah.
Starts in June.
So going forward, so they're not finished quite down here yet.
Very close.
Yeah, this morning I saw them, they're ripping up out the front. And I'm presuming, I don't know, Max, you know how they're leaving the facade? They're not leaving the wings, are they? It's just the actual facade. So they must be going to start on that.
And they're also decommissioning the underground tanks too.
Because I saw they're pulling pavers or something up this morning.
Yeah.
I've got to say, you would have to say the Crawfords are a pretty competent professional group. There was some cracking in the building next door. It was fairly superficial cracking, and we won't fix that up until the whole building's been built, so that if there's any further damage, we can fix up the entire thing. But generally speaking, they were very competent.
So the process going forward is, Max, so once they're finished, you can put a DA in, is that right?
The DA's already lodged.
It's already lodged, so that's 40 days, is it?
Well, it has to be decided by the planning panel.
It's gone state-wide.
Oh, right, yeah.
I'm not sure.
So Angus is doing the evaluation of it, so it's independent of the council.
So I might get another crack at this if I'm on that panel. Might be able to knock it back.
I would make eye contact over that way, John.
You want to give him the paddle off?
All right, did you want to do any more on that, Max? We'll just have to read that. We haven't had time to do that.
Yeah, no,
Yeah.
it's
I
just,
think you'll
I
have
just
to
think
it's just
you
going
can-
downhill.
Never.
Okay, now I would like somebody to move that we go into committee of a whole to consider the confidential item. Somebody like to move that way?
No.
Thank you, Councillor Mulligan. I probably won't get another mover out of Councillor Galvin, I don't suppose. Someone second that, please. Thank you, Councillor Colton. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
The recommendations from the confidential committee of the whole, the confidential organisation and community services report, the recommendation is that the report be received, and the recommendation regarding the report entitled land purchase, the recommendation is the report be received.
And we move that we adopt those. Councillor Matthews, seconded Councillor Mulligan. Put the motion, those in favour say aye.
Aye.
Okay. Any further business?
Who did you say was the mover?
Mover was Councillor Matthews. Councillor Mulligan, seconded it.
Not John.
No further?
Off seven.
I should be doing that too.
Declare the meeting closed. Thank you very much for your attendance.